Well, Eau Claire, thank you. Thank you for being here on a day like this. We could have stood about, 20 more degrees or so, but coming out, I'm just very, very honored. And I know we're going to do well. In 3 weeks, Wisconsin's going to make a big choice. And first thing we're going to do is make sure that a great member of the United States Congress is returned to Congress with Ron Kynes. But I also know we're going to make a real choice in favor of making sure our kids are getting a good education and making sure that people have access to affordable health care and making sure that we are creating more and better paying jobs in this state, making sure we're supporting the great men and women, our teachers, our police officers, our firefighters, the people that we rely on in so many ways. Just making sure we're standing up for the basic values of Wisconsin. So I thank you for everything. You know, in a campaign, there are days when there's a long grind and you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning and you're getting back in at 11 at night, and then you wonder why, the next day you're doing it again and again. But along in the campaign come a few days like this one, where something really special happens. And so I am just thrilled to be here with somebody who is just, I just can't describe it many, well I can, because you all have done this. You know, when you were kids and you had one hero, well I happen to be standing here with mine. And and a lot of you think I'm just saying that because Hank Aaron's here, but I got proof, and I've got the proof right here, and I'm gonna. I've shown this several times now to Mr. Aaron, and so I'm sorry to have to bore him with it again. But my mother died a number of months ago, and what happens after that is people go through belongings, and I was a little busy, but thankfully my sisters did that, and they came back and said, you can't believe what we found. And they brought out, I don't know why this had been saved all these years, but they brought out my 4th grade notebook. For those of you my vintage, you remember these things. You'd have your science class, math, and little folders in there. But this is what a 4th grade boy was thinking about in the middle of the 1950s in Wisconsin. This is what was going on. On the cover of this, scratched in is Braves, and here is Hank, and here is Hank Aaron. Now, for you teachers in the audience, and I see a few of you around, I also have numerator and denominator here. But if you open it up, it's Hank Aaron, Hank Aaron. That's what I was thinking about when the teachers were trying to teach me something. And then I have another AV8 here. I was so thrilled a couple of weeks ago when my Sports Illustrated came. And to me, some of you ought to know this if you're real sports fans. Here's a trivia question. Who was on the cover of the first Sports Illustrated ever published? Eddie Matthews, that's right. But they recently, in the last couple of weeks, picked their all-time roster, 25 players, and put it on the cover. And I hope you all, I was so thrilled when I saw this, because you see it, here it is. And I know it's some distance, but it's all of the greatest players who ever played. But the one who is featured, the one who's stepping out of the dugout, the one who's ready to go up to bat, the one who the light is shining on, is the greatest baseball player of all time, Hank Aaron. I'll tell you why this means so much to me today, because, you know, all of us have had our heroes, whether they're in sports or, you know, I remember Gus growing up and all of the people that he admired, and you never quite know whether the person who you are looking up to in sports or music or whatever, you don't know what kind of person that person really is. You know, you just see it through the media. You just don't know. But I happen to have had a person who was my hero, who turned out, as people got to know him, to be even a better man than he was a baseball player, and he's a heck of a baseball player. And if anybody wants to really be proud of Eau Claire, I'll tell you, you'll all start crying if you read I Had a Hammer and you read about Hank Aaron, how he writes about how he came to Eau Claire and how he was received in Eau Claire. It is just a moving story of a remarkable man. And then we remember, of course, his chase for the home run record. I can remember exactly where I was the night he hit it. And it was one of those great moments. But, you know, his march to the home run record was something that showed this country what courage is and class and hard work. And I came across a quote that Hank Aaron said at the time that shows you the quality of this person. He was asked about, well, does this mean you're better than Babe Ruth and so on? And he said, I don't want anyone to forget Babe Ruth. I just want them to remember me. And that's the quality of Hank Aaron. But he went on from being an incredible baseball player from his early days to here in Eau Claire, to also fighting to make sure that people, African-American people, people of minority backgrounds, weren't just on the ball fields, but they were the managers and in the front offices of baseball as well. And time and again, he has stood up for what's right in this country. So we in Wisconsin, I feel, we're just blessed to have had this great man among us in the years that he played. And we watched him grow up from a little 18-year-old kid in Eau Claire to being a real leader in this country. And we have all in this state are better for it. And so it is really my great honor, back here where it all started, to introduce to the people of Eau Claire once again the greatest baseball player of all time, Henry Aaron.
And let me thank all of my friends here in Eau Claire. Now, again, I appreciate all of you being out here in this weather, but I was here once before, and I think we had some bad weather, but I'm looking at this statue here, and I've gotten thousands of pictures at my home with people standing here taking photos of this statue, sending it to me in autograph. But I personally want to say, without anything, I want to thank all of the people here in Eau Claire, the ones that was here when I played baseball many years ago, and to those of you who were here when this statue was rebirthed. I want to thank you too. You know, there's so many wonderful things that happened to me in my 23 years when I played baseball. But it all started right here. I mean, you here in Eau Claire gave an 18-year-old boy the foundation to do the very best that he possibly could do. And without you, I say this because I have went on to do some great things, but without you giving me that foundation, I don't know that I would have made it. And so again, I want to thank you for all your courage, your sensitivity, and all your patience in what you've done and what you've meant to me all these many years. I often think, even now, when I sit in my home sometimes, where did you get your start from? I got my start right here in Eau Claire. I got my start right here when I went to the YMCA, when I stayed downtown in a hotel room, and I paid $1 a day for my room. And that was a lot for me because I wasn't making anything. But more than anything, it meant one thing, that hey, you know, it ain't always about money, it's about what people mean, and that's what it meant to me. And I have learned to appreciate all good things that have happened to me. But you know, the other thing that I learned to appreciate is that I have learned to share all of the great wealth that I have been able to accomplish. And the one thing that I've learned to share is what Governor Doyle stands for. And he stands for principle and some of the same things that I stand for. I have been a member of the Boys and Girls Club for many years. And the one thing that I know that any of us, all of us here, that is standing here today, we would not be where we are today if it were not for your mothers or your fathers. And now your children, Lord, what rest on your shoulders. And that's what Governor Doyle is all about. I mean, he is for nourishing. When you send your children off to school, he wants these children to be full and be able to compete and do things like everybody else. I've been fortunate enough to be involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs for many years. Also, I've been involved with Chasing a Dream Foundation, which my wife and I have been founded some years ago. And we have helped thousands and thousands of kids. But the most important thing I want all of you to understand, regardless of how many home runs I hit, let's forget about that. But the most important thing in my life right now is that when I see these young people here, is that I am concerned with their wealth because they are our future. They are the ones that's going to make this country what it is 10 years from now. No matter whether you talk about whatever affiliate they may be, I think that they are going to do what we want them to be. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank Governor Doyle. I want to thank all of the politicians. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here to stand beside a man that I think is all principle in what I stand for. Thank you so very much.
But my jacket's open, and then I complain the whole time. Yeah, well, fine.
Oh, there you go. Hello, Mr. Bell.
Thank you. Thank you. What I sang the anthem last time you were here? I remember that, yeah. Thank you. How you doing? Good. How you doing? You holding up okay? Good. You guys up here? You guys an item?
Well, come to this one, all right.
So
did all the kids get up there?
You got it.
She wants to talk to you. There you go. Teachers are with you.
Mr. Aaron. Oh, okay. How you doing? How you doing?
Thanks a lot.